Alright. So since the last time I played this, I turned the game volume down slightly and turned my volume up slightly so you can hear all of my hilarious banter. Yes, okay. Now this time around, I follow the directions.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
Niall.
simply missed a memo.
Let's go to the meeting room. Beautiful. Like, it's actually like a really nice, well-rendered photo. Alright, meeting room.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay. What'd this guy do to get such a nice, isolated office? You know that? There. That's foreboding.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Get Chris out of the broom closet. Get Tom Cruise out of the closet. Aw, thanks, video game.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Are you sure there's nothing here? Is that a spool of copper wire?
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
We need to clean that bucket. That broom. You telling me you can...
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Alright, Mr. Narrator. Point taken.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Alright, I'll play your game. Whoa. Executive bathroom. Hey-oh, because the boss knows that the boss says goes. If the boss suffered losses, then that's what the boss chose. Very interesting decorum. Extreme bathrooms. I can't read it. Bath guy testifies in the trial of the century. What am I doing in the boss's office when I could be reading about bath
Stepping into
guy?
his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
I can't believe there's nobody here.
Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Ooh.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Darn, so close.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Whoa. Boss's room just went on lockdown. Alright. Cool. Loading.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
My goodness. Objectively speaking, it's a really stupid job.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Boop-a-doop-a-doo. But this sign here says escape. Oh well. I have an idea.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed
Whoa.
with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself.
This is like The Incredibles.
Did he have the strength to find out?
Well, I'm assuming I'm about to get mind controlled, but also, what's the budget on a scaffolding that rises so fast that like it just instantaneously appears in front of you? We're definitely working with Amazon here. Hate end days. Alright. The monitor. Whoa, fired.
Each bore the
Was
number
I?
of an employee in the building. Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen. And Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
427. Alright. Oh, perfect. Do. This is super fun.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
I mean, it was a shit job.
No.
No, I mean, it was a great job.
He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
unthinkable, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Was
you're
it
one to
even
talk,
possible?
narrator.
Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
I'm gonna go dismantle these controls once and for all. 5.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Oh, sure. Bam! Suck it, Bezos.
Blackness
Am I dead?
and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Is this gonna get taken away from me?
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Yay. The good ending. And yet we remain stuck.